So in hip hop, music period, when we call someone a sellout, usually it's because we feel that they aren't being true to the art form or to the culture that's involved with that art, and specifically here hip hop and rap. Would you define these guys as selling out?
No. I mean, personally, no. It's being disingenuous to your original loyalties. It's how I would do it. However, the act of these performances and their participation doesn't necessarily violate that loyalty to me.
Right.
And Snoop, he was quoted saying this, and people, when he came out, he's like, man, he said, Donald Trump has done nothing bad to me. Nothing to me. And
so here's my problem. This is where I feel we have an issue in society, is the me culture, right? There is no me culture. There is none. Because without someone else in your life and someone else in my life, I cease to exist.
Sure.
So back to what I was saying.
What's up, friends, family, and fans? Welcome to Life On Podcast. This is where we listen and inspire friends in entertainment.
And everywhere.
That's right, because life happens to everyone, man. It's so weird. I think I'm looking at y'all. Put the camera on me. Am I looking at them? Am I looking at the camera?
Too.
Am I looking at it?
You're looking at it right now.
Okay, because I swear the camera looks like it's looking over here. It's like the camera has a floating eye or something.
Is that
or maybe I do. I don't know. So, what's up, man? How is everything with you?
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. That's right. Is this our first episode of the New Year?
This is the first episode of the New Year. So much has happened.
Hopefully it really is, because we just dated ourselves if it isn't.
No, it is. We have not done one.
Okay, so this is the first. So happy 2025.
No, this is.
And 2025 has started off like nobody's business. And I'm laughing, but it hasn't been laughing matters. I mean, between the wildfires and what else? There was something else that happened, right?
We had Snowmageddon here.
Well, that doesn't count as Snowmageddon.
What are you counting? Like
the wildfires? It seemed like there was something else big.
There's always something big, which makes everything small.
Well, it was a shoot. It was you know what? The guy running through the crowd.
In New Orleans.
Yeah, that crap. So
I mean, that was New Year's Eve. Wasn't it?
Yeah, it's a horrible start. And then we have, I'm gonna be mature this year. Then we have our 40th.
Is that a resolution?
7th president, 48th president. Is this 47 right now?
Yeah.
All right, so we have our 47th president. I'm gonna go ahead and say Donald J. Trump. Is it Donald R. or Donald J?
J.
Donald J. Trump. So therefore, I called him by his name. So I'm gonna grow up a little bit and.
You're too emotionally attached to it.
That's the whole thing. Yeah, it is. So.
And I to start this off real somber and sad. I mean, geez.
Well, it's not somber and sad.
I had a birthday this week.
Oh, yeah, you did. Happy birthday.
I'm officially middle-aged.
If y'all go online, you see a little thing, a tribute. I mean, that wasn't like gay or nothing like that.
No, it was dope.
Okay.
I actually did. So this is the funny thing. I didn't expect you to do anything. One.
Yeah, well,
Because I was actually heading to Boston. I had plans for my birthday. I was going to take a solo trip to Malta and just ditch my family and go spend some time solo and do some R&R, because I drugged them around the country with me for the last 3 months last year. And I was just like, I'm sick of y'all. I don't want to be around y'all right now. I need some time by myself. So I was going to go to Malta, get a little bungalow, chill out for 4 days, and then come back ready for all of this New Year's stuff. And then my wife was like, I have to go to Boston. There's an office thing, and I don't want to go by myself. So I was like, all right, there go my plans. So I was on a plane to Boston where it was 19 degrees for 4 freaking days. And on the plane,
Nelly and Snoop Dogg. Just so y'all know, we about to talk about Nelly and Snoop Dogg.
That's coming up. We'll get to that. On the plane, shout out to Delta Airlines. I love Delta. Delta's the only airline I fly unless there's an emergency. The flight attendant comes by, when you're in Comfort Plus, and first you like free drinks and food and stuff. So when they come by, I wanted another drink. This was like my little celebratory drink. And I say something about it. She's like, we're telling you happy birthday. So they if they know it's your birthday, they tell you. They come and they do the thing. And my son looks at me, he's like, oh, your birthday's tomorrow. I forgot. And then he goes back to just playing games on his iPad. And I'm just like,
That sounds exactly like him, though.
It's 100% like him.
Sounds exactly like him.
And that was just kind of the quintessential way my life works. Is that
no one's thinking about Johnny.
Nobody cares about
except for the homie.
Except for you. So literally, and right after that happens, I pull up and I see that, and I'm like, Shout out to my brother.
The real
Stone,
one.
man. That's what's
the real
up.
one.
My son forgets it's my birthday.
Now, I was going to buy you a drink because there's a drink that you like, and I couldn't remember it. That's the only reason I didn't get it.
Oh,
it's like
man.
$120 or some crap like that.
Oh, the single barrel Uncle Nearest.
See,
yeah,
that was it. That didn't even sound familiar to me, so I don't even know if that was it.
Thought about that?
Yeah, I just couldn't remember which it was because you said it a couple times, and I was like, I forgot what drink.
Yeah, I drink a lot of Uncle Nearest. That has been keeping people alive, if you know what I mean.
All right.
But yeah, shout out to you, man. And then of course, once Facebook tells everybody it's your birthday,
well,
all of the birthday shout outs start rolling.
All right. Well, I broke the ceiling. I love it.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
So I, as you guys know, I have tapered down. I haven't totally quit. But I've tapered down my expressions, about our political choices and stuff. Because one, it's fruitless. I think there's probably only one. Not probably. I shared his post, his DM, but there's only one person who I've actually got to rethink things. And the thing is, it's not that I'm usually not trying to change people's mind. You like who you like. You don't who you don't. It is what it is. But when I ask why you like, and all you do is spit forth the headlines, and the little catchphrases and stuff like that. And so I'll dig deeper and say, well, what about that do you like? Or, well, what do you feel about this? And one of the little thing I did before about the whole trickle down economics. And the bottom line is when people can't explain it to me. So I'm like, well, you then don't know why you're voting for this person or why you're voting against this person. So we ain't getting paid. When we get paid, we'll turn the label.
Gotta act like it.
No, I feel like y'all can tell about a bottom. So I've kind of whittled back on that.
Welcome. I've been trying to get you here for the longest, but
but the fact that I reached one. Just the fact that he said, you know what, Stone, like you really made me rethink some things.
You care about the one.
Yeah, I do. If you say one, man, but the fact that he had the humility and the objectivity to be like, you really made me think. So I actually didn't know some of that, and you're right, I didn't. And he was the whole thing of I've always voted this way. Yeah. This is what it is. And his other thing was I can't stand her. So he was defensively voting, which we're always put in a position.
I mean, that's super common. That's usually the secondary voting method.
And so Derek, my cousin Derek, he was like, and you guys have seen Derek on. He was a NBA referee veteran.
Shout out to me.
But he was like, man, I never hear you say anything bad about Biden or Kamala. And I was like, not true. And so I had to send him a list of things that I've said publicly. Yeah. Well, and he was like, oh, all right, well, I must have missed those.
But what he said was, I haven't heard.
No, and he said, I said, it's true. I don't expect you to read every single post I have. Right. I said, but here's what's funny, is that I've gone through your streams and I've had conversations with you. You have yet to call Trump to task or to book on his idiocies. And that's the difference between not just he and I, but then most people and I. Yeah. You know what I mean? I can love someone, but I will still hold them accountable. Right. And if it's a public thing and I'm doing it publicly, as you already know, I'll do it publicly. For some reason, people act like Donald has saved their firstborn and they almost count it sacrilegious. And here's the thing. Can we be clear on this? Because I don't want to spend all the time on this, but I do want to make sure people understand where I come from and don't just think I'm a Trump hater, because that is not it. Where we are economically, Trump is actually economically good for me.
Man, let me tell you.
Good for me.
Pause on that. So, again, we're going to talk about Nelly and Snoop.
Yeah, Nelly and Snoop.
Because the crypto ball was a big thing.
Because there's some things we need to talk about on that.
I don't like missing big things. But the Trump coin, when it came out, I was like, I need to keep my eyes on this. But I've had a lot going on, and I missed it. Right. And it went from $4.40 to $70 in like 72 hours. And I'm like, this is the kind of stuff I don't miss. So for me, it was great because I was triggered to buy the freaking thing and missed it. And
well, I mean, missed it for now. I mean, there's going to be
more.
There's more. But I would get it now, but be prepared to get out. No. That thing is not going to sustain.
That ship has sailed.
Yeah, that is not going to sustain.
But there are more. But just from an economic standpoint, it's great for me already.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So look, there are things, but I think a lot broader. I'm not just concerned with my pocket. I'm concerned with my neighbor's pocket. And
I'm thinking about me.
No, I know. And that's
Stone.
Yeah. So that's why I want people to understand. I don't hate just to hate. That's not it. I have my reasons. And like I said, economically, dude's good for me. Right. But there's much more to this country than economics. Sure. Is my whole thing. So So that I wanted to make sure that part was clear. So I wanted to make sure I did that. And so, like I said, I will call. And the thing is, I will call him to task, just like I've called Biden to task. There are things about Kamala. I have zero faith in her international affairs skills. But anyway, that's that. So now we have Snoop and Nelly.
It's old. Uncle said that. Uncle Snoop no more. It's old Snoop.
Now, I was, at first I was very tempted to be like everyone else. Oh man, this is horrible, blah, blah, blah. But I had to ask myself, why is this so horrible? Why would I have an issue with them performing for the inauguration?
That is simple.
So I want to ask
because their
you first,
viewpoints are supposed to line up with yours, and by them representing someone whose viewpoints do not line up with yours, they are now trespassing on the trust of the relationship you have built with them as artist and fan. That's why you're supposed to be upset.
Supposed to be in quotes. Okay.
That's it. That's
all it is to it.
That's it.
Because I like them as an artist, and they're supposed to.
They're rappers.
Align with
rap music is black. You're black. They're doing something anti our community.
Therefore, I shouldn't dislike it.
Ergo. Yeah.
Right. And that's the mentality that we have with everyone else. I'm from rural America. I'm white. My dad's Republican. So therefore, I have to vote for this guy.
Yeah. And that's really what, literally, the conversation that I had with only one person, because I have declined to have it with anybody else, was that it felt like a betrayal of trust. And that was the phrase that was used. And I was like, such a well put together statement for something that's really not that huge of a, in the grand scheme, not that huge of a deal. But people really do, they hold on to that connection that you built with someone that you are a fan of. Right. And they hold their moral compass or their ideal compass in such regard that those two things are intermingled so tightly that they can't exist separately. They have to coexist. And when they don't, the dissonance is difficult for them to deal with.
So in hip hop, music period, but the term has typically been used in hip hop. When we call someone a sellout, usually it's because we feel that they aren't being true to the art form or to the culture that's involved with that art, and specifically here hip hop and rap. Would you define these guys as selling out? No.
I mean, personally, no.
All right.
And for two,
and how do we define sellout in this new social media age? Especially when you got woke and you got canceled, and all the. I've told you how I have such a issue with how we have to have a term for everything. But how would you define it?
I don't want to play that game. The reason why I don't, because I sat up late one night actually thinking about that, because that term was just popping up so much, and I was just like, they're not even using it the same way.
Right.
And I have fully accepted that meanings and definitions evolve. We've had that conversation before.
And let's talk about the meaning. So the reason why we call it selling out is because you became untrue to the art form for a check.
Yes.
And for the longest time in hip hop, if you went commercial, you were considered a sellout.
Yeah.
But it was because, now I'm gonna sing, or now I'm gonna do this crap that's not hip hop.
Right.
So I can get this corporate check.
Yeah.
And so therefore we called it selling.
And if you want to generalize it, and I would have to say that my definition is probably rooted in the actual definition. It's being disingenuous to your original loyalties. It's how I would do it. However, the act of these performances and their participation doesn't necessarily violate that loyalty to me.
Right.
And this is a case in point, because the Reverend Brother Pastor Minister Deacon
Reverend Brother
Pastor Minister Deacon Dr. Cat Williams once said, you got to take care of your star player.
Okay.
That's your star player.
Okay.
And Snoop, he was quoted saying this, and people, when he came out, he's like, man, he said Donald Trump has done nothing bad to me. Nothing to me. And a lot of that has to do economically, because I've been public when saying this. My goal in life has always been to get to a point to where my fiscal status is at a point to where politics does not affect me. I don't care what your political views are, because from a money standpoint, whichever way it goes, I'm okay. Snoop is in that range. Now, Trump commuted the sentence of Harry O. If y'all remember that, founder of Death Row. That's Snoop's guy.
All right.
This dude was serving.
Yeah, that sounds more like a chit than anything else.
Okay. What's your point?
So my point, that has nothing to do with any kind of now we're going to enter the murky waters of standards. I don't want to use the word morals because it's not a moral
That's
thing.
fine. No,
but standards type thing. So here's my problem. This is where I feel we have an issue in society is the me culture, right? There is no me culture. There is none because without someone else in your life and someone else in my life, I cease to exist.
Sure.
And maybe not biologically, but if I wait long enough, unless I'm able to become my one and only resource for everything, I will cease to exist.
We agree on this.
So right. So this whole me culture thing. So Trump's never done anything to me and blah, blah, blah to me. Well, honestly, dude, I think you touched on, therein lies the bigger problem.
But so this is the important thing to disassociate from what you just said.
Okay.
Done to you and done for him. When Snoop made that statement saying Trump's never done anything to me, meaning his policies haven't hurt me, his rhetoric has not done anything to me because I'm not affected by what he says. That's what he's saying. He hasn't done anything to hurt me personally, but he has done something to help me. Same thing you just said.
So here's the thing.
It's literally the same thing you said when he started. He's been good for you financially. He's also been good for Snoop financially.
Here's the word that we need to start using in our thought life, in our vocabulary, is the word direct and indirect.
Sure.
Because that's where we base everything.
Yeah.
When someone says Trump's never done anything to me, what they're saying is he's never done anything directly to me that directly affects me.
Yeah.
But so for example, if he has his way and he's able to convince Congress and stuff to pull funding from schools that teach African American history and the dark sides of it, what does that do to me, Stone Stafford? Directly. I'm hard pressed to find how I directly get affected by that. But what does it do to, and the most effective kids obviously are going to be the kids and the students. And this is a long vision. And we had a podcast where we talked about short money and long money, right? Getting that money now or doing what you do to get that money over the long haul. Any success coach or anyone always tells you you're doing things now for the future. I have a speaking series called Now or Later, like that Candy, right? Whatever it is I want 5 years from now, I start today. You see what I'm saying? So one of the things I was telling people with the whole taxes stuff or the tariffs, does that affect us directly, personally? Maybe, maybe not. We could see some stuff in our grocery prices and this and that. But who eventually is going to pay that bill? Our kids and our grandkids. We're going to leave them with that bill because someone's got to pay for that. And so if you do the mindset of, oh, well, he ain't do nothing to me. Well, that's how we get in the poop show. I really wanted to say that, but that's how we get in the poop show that we're in. Because it's like, it doesn't affect me directly right now. And we need to change our name of our country then. And just call it America. Or the states of America.
Oh, you thought the United part?
Yeah, screw the United. Well, I've always believed that. Take the United part out.
You thought
stop calling us USA. Just call us SA. Oh, but then they might think we're South Africa. Oh, now you're really screwed. But anyway, I digress.
Again, you're not wrong, and I agree with everything you're saying. However, I've made this statement in a bunch of different ways as well. Is that we have gotten to a point in society that critical mass has been hit, that it's almost impossible for the individual to sacrifice for the whole at this point.
Impossible?
Oh, I said almost.
You did say almost.
I said almost.
Words matter.
We're at that point to where it is, you have to give up so much of yourself now to sacrifice for the whole that it makes it, and that was the goal.
Do you?
Yes. Yeah.
I don't see that.
Of course you don't, because you're in a different place. Just like Snoop doesn't see
like that word impossible means, or almost impossible means, right? It's incapable of being done, and I think that's a decision. That's not a measure of ability.
We've had the conversation of what having a choice and not having a choice is,
Well, I'm not even talking about choice. I'm talking about a decision.
But that's
the decision and choice is interchangeable. You're right.
Right.
No, you're right. You're right.
Okay. So all I'm pointing out is that for me to make a personal choice, like I'll use me specifically. After my 9th grade year in high school, I went to my neighborhood school for a very specific reason because I wanted to do something very specific my whole life. So I left the performing arts school to go there to do that thing. Wasn't all I expected it to be for my whole life. Decided to go back to performing arts school. My neighborhood school fought tooth and nail to get me to stay because I had a 4.2 GPA. I was a multi-musician. I was an athlete. They needed students like me at the school to raise the weight of the school. I would have had to sacrifice my future to stay there to raise all tides. Had I made that choice to do that, I would not have had access to the recording studios I had access to when I went back to the performing arts system. I would not have been performing 4 times a week like I was when I went back there. And I still had the option to play sports. So I got everything I needed for my personal development by leaving and going back to.
And like you said, that was a choice you made, right?
That was a choice I made.
Right.
It was not for me, for my future, it was not an option for me to stay.
It was not an option to achieve the type of future you wanted.
No.
That's what I'm saying. So
not an
therefore,
option. Ergo, not an option.
No, that's not the ergo. What you're saying is true. To make that choice is not an option if this is the future that I wanted. The ergo is I now need to decide, do I want this future or not?
Yeah, and sure, take that step if you want to.
This always sends us down a rabbit hole.
I'm a human being. I'm not an idea. Yes, I can be. It is ideological, 100%, because humans don't function like that. We do not.
You don't. Hey, Johnny doesn't.
You don't operate like that.
Because I do on the everyday basis.
No, you don't.
Case in point, all the red flags I saw with Tasha when I met her. All the red flags.
He said that. I ain't say that. Ain't no red flags with you, Tasha.
Tasha will get on here all day long and tell everyone if we actually dated longer, we probably wouldn't have gotten married. You know what I mean? So my whole thing was, I see where those things led. A lot of them went against who Stone wanted as far as being happy. But I also saw some areas in her that were good for me where I knew I needed to grow and develop, and she would affect that. So, which future do I want? Okay.
I'm going to stop you here. That's an awesome story, and it's beautiful. Tasha, he said
don't patronize me. Go on.
The difference in our stories, and I want you to finish it, but the difference in our stories is the decision that I put forth and the story that I offer was a choice in developing my future and helping the futures of 700
This is where you confuse me.
Your story benefits
I'm past the stories. What you just said, this is where you confuse me. This is where we're probably missing it, and I don't want to burn too much time.
No.
Because on one hand, you'll say, it's not a choice. I'm not a human. It's not a choice. But then you'll say, but the choice that I made, so that's where I get confused.
Let's fix what the conversation is. Let's fix what the conversation is. This is where you're missing it. We're talking about sacrificing something for yourself for the greater good.
Okay.
You didn't offer anything in what you just put up. You said you do it on a daily basis, and then you gave me an example.
All right, well, let's screw the example.
All
right. So the thing is, this is a familiar path. We've been down before. We're not going to go eye to eye on that.
No, we're not.
You're intent on believing that there is a point when people don't have a choice.
You're wrong.
And if you believe I'm wrong, I'm going to allow you to believe that.
Yes.
Okay.
And that's because,
I'm going to allow you to believe that.
Just because you don't believe it.
So go ahead. So moving on. Y'all can chime in on there. Actually, y'all chimed in before, and we already know that everyone kind of went to my side.
No, they didn't.
So,
wait, what?
So question. So we're not necessarily calling. You're saying we can't necessarily call them a sellout.
They're not selling
out because not really selling out. So
they don't owe you anything.
So why is it such a big deal for where celebrities and politics, when they come in, why is there so much pressure for either celebrities to speak out or celebrities to take a stand? Like, what is their role if they have one in all of this?
Another two-part answer.
How do they navigate it?
One, we put too much emphasis on the importance of politics. Because if you really...
the importance of politics.
Yeah. Okay. When you really look at it... let's take what's happening with the TikTok thing. And I know we're going to talk about this. Shout out to TikTok. You live a great life. We'll see you again soon, I'm sure.
Yeah, the fact that it took away my cap cut, though.
That was another thing. Yeah.
Not a fan.
Didn't know about that, did you?
We're going to talk about that.
Yeah, you didn't know about that.
Yeah.
Congress came together. I mean, massive engagement and conversation and put all their energy and weight behind getting rid of TikTok. Mm-hmm. They haven't put that weight behind doing anything else. they've done two things. They've proven that they can galvanize for their constituents to do something that their constituents didn't really care about, but they also proved that they can do it and will do it for things that don't matter, and they will not do it for things that people actually need and want them to do. Mm-hmm. So we put so much weight on politics, and it's really not doing anything for the average person. I mean, if you really think about it, yes, you're going to feel the effects of what happens in the political system in the long term. It's always long term. It's very rarely immediate. Even the bad things, it takes a minute for it to happen. It's coming, but it takes a minute for it to happen. So that's thing number one. We put too much weight on what's happening in politics. Thing number two is the ownership that we have over our heroes makes us feel that they owe us something in return for our loyalty to them. Okay. Now, whether people will admit that that's true or not, it is a fact.
Sure.
It's a fact.
If it wasn't a fact, there would be no such thing as a cancel culture.
Exactly. Yeah. You wouldn't be mad at whatever they do. Now, the reason why it's important from the question that you asked is because the views from the top and the bottom are completely different of what that engagement is between the artists and their constituents. People at the top feel that they can use their influence over those people to bring their fan bases, at least to make them open to ideas and concepts. It's the same reason why you'll put a pop act as an opening act for a headliner to introduce those fan bases. That's why you do it. That's why you do crossover records. That's literally what it is a crossover record in politics. That's what Snoop performing for Donald Trump is. It is a crossover thing. That's all it is.
All right, let's just stop talking in ambiguities.
I'm being very
ambiguities.
I'm being very
But obviously, I'm going to name names. So do you think the Trump administration is bringing in Snoop and Nelly to introduce their base to a broader audience? Or do you think they're bringing in Snoop and Nelly to bring in Snoop and Nelly's base into their fold? One, you have Trump introducing Trump's base to something new. The other one, you have introducing a new base into your fold.
I'm not worried about Trump's base. No.
All right, so what I'm thinking is all right. The way you said it, I didn't line up. Okay. That's why I wanted to go ahead and use names and say what was what.
The thinking from President Trump's standpoint, from a marketing standpoint, is having these faces, Nelly, 50,
right,
Snoop, and their bases.
Exactly. Exactly. That's what I'm saying. The way you said it came off, I was like,
But that's what I'm saying.
Okay, yeah, okay. No, I agree.
But the problem with that is that from the bottom, yes, the consumer's gullible because we fall for marketing crap all the time, and I'm using the we in general for real this time because I generally don't.
We all do sometimes.
I mean, yeah, you're going to get me on. If you do a soda campaign, I'm going to probably fall for it. You're going to get me. But when it comes to like media and stuff, for me, I'm biased because I spent too much time on that side to where it doesn't affect me per se. If I like it, I like it. If I don't, I don't. That's just kind of where I'm at. But yes, from the bottom side of that, from the consumer fan base side, the gullibility actually kind of stops there because of what I said earlier. People have their political views, and then they have, what they hold as their loyalties to their entertainment people. And when those things clash, a negative times a positive is a what?
Negative.
Exactly. So you got that one negative. So what you get is, well, Snoop, Nelly, y'all done sold out. I don't care about Trump.
So you feel it hurts their credibility.
Exactly. So that's what happens. However, Trump doesn't think that's what happens. And I'm using the name as an overarching thing.
He does.
For that, because
Trump doesn't think anything.
But it's not just the Trump thing specific. It's top marketing in general.
Right.
You don't look down and see. They look at it as a generality that if we do this, we'll get their people easily because they follow wherever they go.
Well, if not all of them, they'll probably still get a few.
If you're going to get a few, you probably already kind of got them.
I asked and I'm not going to say this person's name because I didn't ask for their permission.
No, we're using names
because it was a private conversation. But what they said was really good.
Right. So
I won't say their name, but this person is a multi-Grammy winning songwriter. I mean, you can use the word legendary, to be honest, because this person has written some legendary songs.
Okay.
But I asked him what his thoughts were.
Shout out, Mr. Legendary.
Yeah, what his thoughts were on Snoop and Nelly performing. And he said that he doesn't think it's the right move. See, I'm sure they'll all say that it's just a check to them. But then that's saying that money is your motivator. And for every decision, that money is your motivator for every decision, which is a mammon frame of mind. Mammon is a biblical word for money. Now, if they are not motivated by money, then that points to being aligned with Trump's way of thinking and operating, which is still mammon or money-based, because it's saying that his ideas are better for your bottom line. So I understand the need to work with the administration that's in power if you have an action plan and agenda to help others, the anti-me, if you have an action plan and agenda to help others. But getting up on stage to perform is unnecessary if that's the case. And he asked, what are my thoughts? And I thought that was very well articulated. I said, I agree. So without an explanation, the optics speak for themselves, and the optics aren't good. So when you have, so at the end of the day, what the optics show, dang, it's 30 minutes already.
Not good for who?
Here's the thing. The optics say, all right, let's use, I want to do this dramatically on purpose. Okay. All right. Let's say Hitler is alive today.
Jesus Christ.
Jesus Christ would be good, but that would be a positive example.
I'm sorry, I wasn't expecting you to go there.
Let's say Hitler is alive today,
okay,
doing what Hitler has done, and he's running for some type of thing, and Snoop and Nelly perform, right? Now, most people are going to focus on the gravity of the evil. Yeah. That's not the point. We're just saying something distasteful.
You're creating a scale,
immoral, if you will, whatever.
Yeah.
The reason why what did I say? The reason why I said, oh, the optics are bad is because, well, this person has clearly shown by action and word that there are certain things, even detestable by some definitions, that he stands for. The understanding, the unspoken understanding is you wouldn't perform for someone you disagree with. Doesn't say it's never happened, but to that level, there's been enough things, no matter what Trump comes out of Trump's mouth, there has been enough things that say this. He may not be totally anti, not just black, minority. He may not be totally anti-minority. But he definitely is not pro-minority, because the things that can be done to advance minorities in this country, and the qualifier is in this country, right, because this country has an entire system that is on purpose, that is purposefully in place to keep minorities down. So if you're still arguing that point, don't even listen to anything else I have to say, because you're not even on the field right now. You know what I'm saying? So in this country, to do anything that would further hinder progress or just equality of minorities, for you now to get on stage to help promote and celebrate this person, by default, the thing is, oh, well, then you don't have an issue with the things that he does. That's why I say the optics are bad, without an explanation. Now, if this is strictly a business move, that's the where it's just thing. The check. It goes to what this hit songwriter said. He's like, well, if that's how you're basing all of your decisions, I mean, we kind of have an issue there, because, you know, what people do for money. Google it if you know what people do for money. I know some people are like, oh my God, I forgot about that joint.
I got older, but I'm not quite that old. I don't know that one. What's that one?
No, it's back in the 80s. Look it up. But it's so true. And as you already know, like it's today. People will do almost anything for the bag.
I mean, tell me what else is there? When you get down to the bottom line of it, what else is there to do something for? Answer the question.
And I want to, but you're going to hit me with the whole sunshine and rainbows, Mr. Positivity, blah, blah, blah.
Base it off of, again,
success.
What comes with success, Joe?
Exactly. It all depends on what your definition of it is. For some people, success is being healthy, having a healthy family, having a healthy circle of friends, roof over your head, da-da-da-da. So that's success.
Again, reality.
First of all, there's nothing in this life and we live in that will take zero money. So we get that.
Okay.
But we talking about the bag. We talking about an excess amount of money. There aren't a whole lot of...
So I always stop people there when they say that, because, again, this is... So at my financial level, where I'm at, I was helping a partner move yesterday, and we got into a conversation about money. My reality for what my baseline is would be counted as a higher level of success for him. And he even said, he says, man, if I was doing that, man, I'd be happy. I wouldn't need to do anything else. And I'm like, I have to do more because I'm damn near struggling where I'm at because people, I mean, you hear the statement all the time. It's been in multiple songs, More Money, More Problems. There is a different level of problem at every financial
But your
level.
definition of success differs from his.
It's going to differ for everybody.
So that's my point.
So for somebody to say you're doing it just for the bag might be something completely different for Snoop at this point. $1 million is not a lot of money to Snoop Dogg. His problems are so much bigger than $1 million. So if he got a $3 million check out of it, that might have been his rent, so to speak.
Yeah, but you're bringing amount into the fact that
I'm doing it to make it. I'm doing it to make it make sense.
The bag is the bag. I don't care if it's $100 or $1,000. Bottom line is I'm willing, and this is why I tell Trump supporters.
But wait, if that counts towards your level of success, achieving something you need to do in your personal life, then what's the problem?
The problem is I don't care how much I need $1,000 just to literally keep a roof over my head in the most literal sense of the term. I'm still not going to join a satanic cult. So they'll give me $1,000 check.
But is that what Snoop did though?
No, but that's what we're talking about, the optics. The whole point was the optics. So we said that's what the optics are. I said, but if it was just strictly a business move,
that's what I'm saying.
That's fine. But to his point, he was saying that means that every decision that you make is just based on money, which then we said, well, people will do anything for money. That word anything means not just the action is quote unquote good or bad, but also means whatever your standards are and what you stand for, you will compromise them if there are enough zeros behind it.
That goes for everybody.
That's what we're talking about.
That goes for everybody.
It does not go for everybody.
It does.
Absolutely 100%. There are plenty of opportunities and we won't get into it. I have turned down 100% because I will not compromise my standard for that check. Okay. Absolutely 100% no.
I mean, that's awesome.
I could be way more than I could right now in music right now if I decided to roll the way half of my people roll.
Me too.
Well, so you're living my point.
No,
so
but
everybody doesn't do that.
There have been other things that I have had to do.
You said everybody does that.
To a degree,
literally.
Yes, there's been something you have done for some money that you would normally say I wouldn't do. You cannot say you've gone through your whole life and never done something. It's not possible.
I'm talking about, okay. Yeah, because this can go into semantics, which I don't want to go into. No, seriously, because now I'm going to go to, well, your standards, and then there's stuff that you just, feel good about, but it's not really a standard. I don't want to go into all that kind of crap. For me, there are some non-negotiable standards in my life, rather morally, ethically, whatever, character, whatever.
Let me simplify my whole point of all of this foolishness. Yeah. We, as a people, even multi-Grammy winning super songwriter, producer guy, who I have so much respect for because I think I know who it is just by how you said it. Even with his perspective and his viewpoint, has not lived the life of the people who are doing these things. Who hasn't lived that life? He hasn't lived the life of Nelly or Snoop at all.
Not like live their actual life.
That's what I'm saying.
Which obviously is impossible.
Exactly.
Okay.
That's the point of this thing. You have not lived that individual's life, so you cannot dictate what their choices are based off of you.
But no one's dictating.
That's literally what you do when you tell somebody you're selling out, you're doing this, you're being whatever.
But to be clear, no one said any of that stuff about them. Approval and disapproval, that's opinion. That's all it is. I mean, the sellout stuff that we're talking about, these are questions I'm asking. Do you consider them sellout? We're not saying they are and they aren't.
We're just having a conversation after that.
We're just having a conversation.
I said no at the beginning.
Yeah, it's just opinion. So, I mean, all of it's opinion. All of it's opinion. Like, I literally had, dinner or lunch with a good friend of mine. I can say her name, not see Callie. And I was like, I just don't understand how this guy does this, stand for this. And I said, for me personally, and knowing you don't stand for any of that stuff. Her response, yeah, but I just couldn't stand for Harris.
Okay.
And I'm like, okay, that's great. And that's what I'm saying. So my point is, going back to my point, is how this goes back why the sellout thing came up. What do we define a sellout? Is it? And I think a lot of times when we think selling out, we're talking about selling out to others, but you can sell out to yourself. And my whole thing is maybe Snoop and Nelly, their standards are at a certain area, and therefore their personal lives were like, well, I don't consider this a sellout because, quite frankly, I don't give a darn. Just like Tunchi said, you know what I mean? He was like, I ain't role modeling nobody. I don't give a crap. I do this for me. I don't give it. However it affects kids, that's on them. That's where his standard is. And, you got people who agree, you got people who disagree. So at the end of the day, it's all a conversation. We know that there are some ethical and moral standards we differ on. So it is what it is. It's just a conversation. But my whole idea is just to get people to think about this stuff and not just follow things so blindly. And somewhere in the cosmos of things, I still feel like there's some kind of unified, uniform, universal standard.
No.
Yeah, I have no way of proving that whatsoever. So I can't.
No.
I can't.
It's not real.
Well, actually, there is the standard of survival. That's one standard that every species that's alive,
but even that could be compromised.
Tries to survive.
But even that can be compromised.
So,
as a father, I know for a fact that can be compromised. Let me. I want to say one more thing.
No, go for it.
Because this is the thing that I struggle with. All of these conversations come out of. I'm gonna say simple. It's simple to me, and just like you can't see how certain people feel or do certain things, I can't see how people can't get this. The two concepts of objectivity and subjectivity are lost on most people.
Amen.
Everything gets turned into subjectivity, and people don't have a concept of being able to grasp a bigger picture or being able to accept the fact that there's a bigger picture they can't see.
Sure.
And that's where I see a lot of this stuff coming out of.
100%.
When I see stuff like this, there's a chess move being made that we don't know. And the reason why,
totally agree with that.
I have an 11-year-old who his universe is literally powered by me. I hate to say it, but I am the god of his universe. Like his blessings, whether they come from there to me, it goes to him. And that's how it flows. He sees it from me. I made a decision to not do something that he wanted. That was going to be a substantial amount of money. Could have been beneficial to him right now, but I chose to not do that. Explain to him we're not doing this, but I didn't tell him why, because I know he wouldn't have had any concept of, he can't see that far yet. And I took the money, did something else with it that is going to benefit him in about 15 years that he'll look back then and actually be able to understand it. He has no concept of being able to grasp the bigger picture of why I didn't buy this thing for him right now. And that shattered his little universe.
Sure.
That's what's happening to people on a bigger scale.
Agreed.
Your universe is this, and you are projecting what you're experiencing in your little universe on what's happening inside of an objective, bigger picture that you have no concept of. And until you can accept you don't have concept of that and then try to figure out or learn, if you care to, what those bigger pieces are, you're going to continue to be upset by the moves that people who are living in a different universe are doing than you.
I mean, look, I've walked that walk. Where the whole lifestyle thing is concerned. I'm absolutely at this point where, listen, that's your life. Is your, whether you want to call it decision, whether you call it nature, whether you want to call it nurture, I'm at this point where if you say it's green and the sky's green, hey, go for it, be happy. You know what I'm saying? I have one job, that's to love you for who you are and where you are. So I get that point. And so like with your child, with the child example, where I am is if I were Micah.
That's his name.
Yeah, I almost thought I called him out of his name for a second. I was like, did I just call this boy out of his name?
Thinking of one of his 10 nicknames.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, you good.
But if I were Micah, where I am is, oh man, I can't believe you won't buy me this, and da 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 da. But then it's like, whoosh. Well, my dad loves me. I'm being a little baby right now. Why don't I just trust him? Oh
yeah,
not that any child at that age, they don't typically think like that. But my point is seeing that side of the thing. So that's where I am with this.
In 15 years, he will have that perspective.
And this is I'm glad you brought this whole thing to circle to close it. That's how I opened. Why I opened how I opened is that I don't dislike Trump just to dislike him.
Okay.
Look, there are some things in my moral codes that he absolutely doesn't align with. Great. That doesn't mean you have to dislike him. Not at all. Okay. But where I wish more people could be at is whereas I like him or I don't like him, people then automatically assume that I'm just a big fan of Biden or Harris. And I'm like, well, no. And then I'll go, here's why. I don't like some of the agendas and the things that they promote and that they push. And they want to make everyone else accept. And I said, I am not a fan of that at all. But I will say that in a heartbeat. My issue is try to get someone who supports Trump to do that. They'll sit there and what they don't like. I said, yeah, but Trump, oh no, I don't like this about Trump. Here's why. Oh my God, you just killed a child. If you're someone who supports that man and you say one thing that holds him accountable, you've just murdered a first child somewhere. And now, to prove my point even further, and I'm gonna close with this, I give him all the credit in the world. Because Johnny, if I could have that kind of influence on somebody, I want it. If this man were to legitimately open a school where he wouldn't rob me and steal my money and say how to have Trumpian influence, Johnny, I will be the first person to sign up for that class. I'm telling you right now, because that's something I will not take away.
So that's your number. That's what'll get you to sell out.
Let me tell you, that is no, and that's not even support. Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Right? I can give credit where credit is due. That man has some juju Jedi mind skills that I want. I will not take that from him.
Eyes won't sit.
I mean, he got people getting up off their knees left and right with a little milk on their lips.
Oh my God.
But we're gonna, Life on Podcast. This is where we listen and inspire friends in entertainment and everywhere. Look, I'm sure y'all got some opinions on what we've been talking about. If you haven't gotten it by now, for the umpteenth thousandth time, share your opinion. We won't knock you. I can't say what other people in the comments will do, but
yeah, the infighting is on y'all.
Look, we're not gonna like it. We welcome it. We welcome it all day long. Just because we have a platform does not mean we think we always right and we set the rules. But let's engage with each other. And the simplest thing y'all can do, look, there are so many of y'all that listen and watch this, and I know because you let us know, but you haven't even subscribed. Like, it's not that you owe it to us, but like,
you feel like you're selling out if you click the subscribe button?
It's kind of one of them things.
Just click the button, bro.
Like, you listen to us anyway.
Hit the button.
What does it hurt just to click a button? You literally haven't lost one iota.
That's where you draw the line at.
I'm
listening. I'll tell somebody, but I ain't subscribing.
Just listen. Look,
I ain't gonna sell out. I ain't subscribing to this.
We ain't asking for money. We ain't asking for nothing but a click of the button. How hard is that?
It's hard.
And then if you don't, but I don't want my phone going off, then turn off the notifications.
I don't subscribe to stuff,
know we're there.
I'm not a subscribing kind of person.
But it helps us.
I actually know somebody that's like that.
What?
So you know how in like X,
that you're not a subscribing
they're
type
not a
of person?
subscriber type of person. So they'll create lists and like put people's stuff in like different lists that they can go to, but they do not subscribe. And I was like, explain it to me. And they hold something to the subscribe button that's like a commitment.
I was gonna say it's a commitment.
Like, I get it. I don't, but I mean the way they explained it,
it's a commitment with no consequence. That's how you have to think about it. But I actually had to hold myself. When we first started talking about this towards the end of last year, I actually went to my YouTube channel, and if I've watched at least 10 of the person's videos, I went on and hit subscribe. Cause I was like, cause I can see how we don't do that. You're like, it's here when I want it. Let's grab it when I want it. Yeah.
And the reason why it is because the algos see that you do it, so it's going to keep pushing.
Exactly. So that's the thing. You guys are helping our algorithms. And look, at the end of the day, there are people who aren't going to see us because the algorithm doesn't take us to us. But
until you interact,
the moment you hit subscribe, now the algorithm's like, let me look at their people and their followers, and maybe so. Look, sharing is caring is all I can say.
Look, all y'all be out there telling some God send me a sign. The fact we keep popping up,
that might be a sign. StoneStafford.com. Every single thing you might want to know about me, or if you want to cancel me personally, go to StoneStafford.com.
It doesn't change. Just Johnny Vaughn, JUSTJONYVAN.
And as always, lifeonpodcast.com. You can watch, you can listen. The latest 10 episodes are typically, I'm not gonna say always. Sometimes life be lifing, but more times out of not, the latest 10 episodes are up there.
Now, before you say peace, we talked about Nelly and Snoop Dogg. We finally did, but what you did not do was tell us whether you thought they were selling out or not. You got my opinion. You read super producer, Grammy Award winning songwriter. What say ye, Stone, before you say peace?
So, I would not label it a sellout.
Okay.
I would not. What I wish would happen is I wish they would show that they take their influence more seriously by giving an explanation as to why they're doing it. They don't owe us one. It's their own personal decision.
You said it. I wish they would.
Yeah, but I wish they would because because it tells me that, okay, I realize the influence we have on people, and whether we want to or not, just because we're popular, because we do dope music. Yeah. So it comes with the job.
Gotcha.
And so therefore, so that we know how this may affect you guys, this is why we're making this choice. Now, they can agree or disagree after that. I feel like there's a little bit of a responsibility when you have that level of influence. Okay. You should offer some type of explanation. If not, people make their own. And as we've learned in social media, oftentimes the assumptions are wrong.
There it is, Dan.
So that's how I feel about it.
I'm glad we finally got it at you.
Yeah, man.
Took 48 minutes to do it.
I should have articulated and I just never did.
No. I intended to do it that way in person. I knew you weren't going to do it in the middle. I'm going to get it.
I forgot. That's all.
Okay.
I appreciate you. All right, we out. We love y'all. Thanks for your support. Peace.
So back to what I was saying. What I was saying.